Am I the asshole for putting a lien on my brother's house and refusing to remove it until he pays me? I do house renovations as a business. Even when I do work for family and friends at a discount, I have a contract. My nephews are getting bigger, and they want separate rooms. My brother asked me to help him finish his basement, make a couple of rooms down there, add a washroom, add a kitchenette, and wire up a family room. I priced it out and said I would charge him $32,000, including materials. This was a sizable discount. The bathroom alone, I would charge anyone else $15,000. His wasn't even roughed in. He never paid me. He always had excuses. I paid for the material, and I paid my guys for the work. We did it when I had downtime, so I didn't lose out on other money. But it still sucked to get shafted. So I put a construction lien on the house. He didn't care, and I wasn't going to make him homeless. That was 2 years ago. Now he got a new job and has to move. And to get a new house, he has to sell his current house, which he can't do because there is a lien against the property. He called me to get me to remove it. He promised he would pay me as soon as it sold. I told him, "F you pay me." My parents called me to tell me that they would pay what he owes. I said I would agree, so long as he paid them back. And if he didn't, then any money he didn't pay back had to come out of any inheritance we were getting. God forbid. And that interest started accruing from the day of the loan. They agreed that that was fair. My brother called me to scream at me for involving my parents and out inheritance. I reminded him that he involved them, not me. He finally took money out from a line of credit and paid me. With interest. I'm a reasonable man. The house sold over asking, and the finished basement suite made a huge difference on what he got. He is still pissed at me for doing it, but I did everything legal and by the books. Not the asshole. Who thinks you are besides him? His wife, her parents. My parents aren't happy. Not the asshole. Your parents wouldn't have been happy either way. They were going to pay you. They'd be unhappy with it too. If your brother shafted them for $32K, they'd be unhappy. I'm not a contractor, but I'm fairly handy. But whenever I help a friend out, we price materials together, and I make them pay up front for those costs. That would seem to be the way to go, even if you're doing them a discount. Get paid up front, and you can only be shafted so much. I have to imagine any other contractor would take a deposit of half the job up front. That's very common where I am. Bro didn't take his parents' money because he knew he had no intention of paying up. When parents offered to pay, he had to sack up and go get a loan and actually pay. Because he's A-okay with stealing from his brother, but not his parents. Guess it's good to know where the line is. Not the asshole. Bro seems like he was trying to get it for free and never would have paid you unless you forced the issue. F you pay me sounds entirely reasonable approach here. Not the asshole. You were smart to put a lien in place. I don't know why all these people are mad at you. It's business, and it's none of their business. Am I the asshole for not going to another restaurant after my boyfriend refused to order from where I stopped? Earlier today, I asked my boyfriend to go with me to run some errands. When we finished, I was hungry and picked a Mexican restaurant for lunch. It was more of an authentic place, which I absolutely loved, but my boyfriend said nothing looked appealing. He gave me money for my meal and said he was going to go to a place down the street. 10 minutes later, he's back, because the place had a really long wait time. I made some suggestions from the menu he would probably like to try, but he said no. He said he told me last week he was burned out on Mexican food when we went out for dinner with my parents because we always eat it. He didn't order anything that night either, which was really embarrassing to have someone at the table not eating the entire time and trying to explain to my mother and stepdad in a way that didn't sound disrespectful. Service at this place was rather slow, so I wound up taking most of my meal with me. He said to stop along the way to my place so he can get something to eat. I said no, because he knew I had to be home by a certain time for a maintenance person, and everything he wanted was in the opposite direction. We got back to my place, and he said he was going to go home because he was starving. I said he could stay and cook something here, but he said no, and that he needed space after I made him starve. I told him he wouldn't be starving if he hadn't been picky, and he left. He's still mad at me, so am I the asshole here? Edited to add, no, I am not Mexican, but my stepdad is, so I grew up eating it most of my life. My stepdad picks where we choose to eat each week, or he won't go, and they want all of us there each week, or it's a whole drama. I do cook other kinds of food sometimes. I do eat different food when I go to his home. When my boyfriend eats with me, including our weekly meal with my parents, it's only 3 to 4 days eating some kind of Mexican cuisine. I'll start asking him where he'd like to go when I drive. The place he walked to was like 5 minutes away, but He thought he wouldn't have time to wait for takeout, since takeout was a 35-minute wait. Usually, the sit-down places I go to are pretty quick, like get your food 10 to 15 minutes after ordering. When we realized the place I chose was slow, he didn't have time to go back or place an order online. I acknowledged that just picking the restaurant on a whim driving by it, instead of asking if he wanted to stop for food, was wrong of me. I'll pick up something I know he likes and take it to him at work for lunch. He told you he was burned out on Mexican food, and yet, it's not like it was news to her. She watched him just sit and not eat a week ago rather than have Mexican. Then she wouldn't let him go somewhere else to get food because she had to be somewhere. Then she's mad he wanted to just go home to eat. Did you skip where she said he went to go get something for himself, but he did not want to wait? Instead, he came back and demanded she go out of her way when she needed to be home. He had the chance to get something. He decided to not wait online. That's on him. Girl, he literally paid for your lunch, even though he didn't eat there, and you didn't even try to stop somewhere for him. You're wild? You're the asshole. You're the asshole. So after this dinner where he didn't eat anything, you then tried again in the same restaurant/similar food? I think your boyfriend made it clear he didn't want to eat Mexican. If I were your boyfriend, I simply would not have gone to the restaurant at all. Agree on where you both want to eat. Don't force the issue. You said the service was slow, so that alone, even with the best food, would annoy me. You're the asshole. Why didn't you choose a restaurant you both like for lunch? Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.